Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Americas Stage 1 2025 for Week 3. My guest at this time is Mitch, the IGO of C9, who are coming off their match against MIBR on the losing end, thus continuing their run in said regular season. And so, Mitch, gotta give my thanks to you for this opportunity for another interview this year. I mean, we're coming off of that a match against MIBR, like I said, and obviously a loss doesn't make you feel great, but I gotta ask you, what's going through your mind after coming off of a series like that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the loss does suck. I think everyone on the team knows that we had multiple chances to close it out, and maybe 2-0 them, or even on Haven, like continue to claw back. I think they played really well on Haven. They called really well on attack side, and it kind of caught us off guard. But we're all genuinely kind of happy. Like we brought it back on every map. We were down maybe like 4-1, 4-0, 5-0 on every map, and we were able to bring it back. So it does feel good to know that we have that resilience.
Yeah, it's that one solace that this team can kind of feel despite the loss. But even so, like even like you guys were a step back in both occasions, especially in map 2 and map 3, and actually came back on both times. But you just weren't missing that final push to close out each map. And this match kind of could have ended in 2-0, but nevertheless,
Yeah.
what do you think just the team lacked in that final crucial moments in those two maps that could have led to a C9-1 victory?
I think just getting that really late match experience, like the pressure is high, and everybody's like tense. I think is really good for our young team. So I think that's the biggest thing, is staying poised in those like late rounds and the late moments, me included too. I mean, I think I had a couple of chances to close out the game myself. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about how that kind of affects yourself because like you are kind of having to lead this team as like the main caller amidst this comeback. You were able to do it like that for basically the majority of those two instances, except for, as I said,
Mhm.
those final critical moments. But like, how was it for you to just sort of like try to lead the team amidst trying to climb out of that hole?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just everyone saying one round at a time. Nobody was really like emotional or like down in the dumps, sort of say. But we were all like, yeah, let's just win one round at a time, and slowly the energy keeps increasing after you win 1, 2, 3, and eventually, like we're the ones with all the steam and the momentum. So we kind of just played it like that.
No, for sure. And yeah, like, it's going to be one in which you guys will definitely look at and just try to move on from, take away some major lessons, and then use that
Yeah.
for the next matches. I want to dive in a little bit into the match again, but more so specifically looking at the map pool. We saw you guys go for, or you guys had the opportunity to go for either like Ascent or Haven. You guys went for the Haven. What was the
Yep.
thought process behind that aspect? And also on top of that, the different composition. In a lot of ways, we've mostly seen the ISO Yoru kind of pair in that map specifically, but we saw you guys go for like the neon no,
Hmm.
for the Jet and Omen, Asova, and
Yeah.
Cipher and Breach. So
The old meta comp on Haven.
yeah, yeah. So why go for
Yeah.
that route?
Um. Well, in the vetoes, I mean, we kind of just looked at it like we don't really want to play Ascent because we'll be starting attack side, and that's basically it. And we were banning Haven, but it was more so like target bans. We were very confident on Haven. We scrim Haven. We don't have a perma ban, so we usually just target ban. And that's kind of how it played out, I guess, in the vetoes. It was a center Haven, so we went with Haven. And we watched their Haven. We didn't think it was that good, and we felt like we had the read on how to play against them.
If there's one thing that you feel the team could have done differently, not just focusing on that map, but more so the entire series as a whole, one thing that you think the team could have done differently, following this series, what do you think that thing could have been?
Uh, I think one of our strengths is definitely to speed up, run it down on like have the momentum with us. But one thing, that I would really like us to start working on, and I guess emphasizing on, is slowing it down sometimes, and we don't have to always run it down after we get a kill. So just a little bit more discipline, I guess, and we'll be a lot better, I think.
No, for sure. I mean, I kind of want to now pivot over to like your individual performance. Like, obviously, it wasn't the best that we've seen of you today. Mostly
Hmm.
not being able to perform to your usual selves in Pearl and Haven. I mean, I just want to ask you, just sort of how do you view your individual form and how tough it was for you to just try to like contribute in terms of fragging, but also trying to lead the team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like games like this are gonna happen. My play style is more of like I'll be the first one to run in. So I really don't care about my stat line. I'll be dropping guns if somebody's frying on my team. It doesn't matter who. I'll give them my gun. I'll just basically be that like selfless teammate that'll go in for them. And if I'm not playing that well, if I'm not shooting that well, then I'll be the first body in. So that's basically how I look at it. I don't really care about the score line or kills, stats, whatever. I just look at the ults, and that's it.
Yeah, and for sure, like despite this loss, it's still fair to say that this Cloud9 team is still relatively strong in terms of the rest of the league, and you know it kind of speaks to how the team has been able to develop since your arrival early on in this year. And so, I mean, I had a chance to talk to you like sometime earlier on in the year, and by that
Yep.
time, you haven't been able to like have a few reps in to just kind of give a deep assessment as to where this team currently stands. Now we're roughly past the halfway point of the regular season in stage one. Where do you kind of see the team nowadays? With yourself included. How much has the team kind of grown from the early pace of kickoff up until now?
I mean, I think we've grown tremendously, and it kind of shows with that rematch with MIBR. I think the first time around we were like a lot more timid, a lot more scared, and we let them do whatever they wanted. But this time we kind of controlled the pace, and we made them play our game to a sort of sense. So I feel like we're growing a lot, and we're going to learn a lot from this match, and I think it's going to be a great learning point for us.
Kind of feels like if you guys have that other next chance to take on MIBR, it's going to be a different story, right? It kind of gives you that motivation
Yeah,
to like
I think it's
do
still
even
going to
more
be a
better.
great match, but hopefully it'll be in our way.
Of course, man, of course. And looking over to the next or set of games that you guys have in your schedule, you have that match against Furia next week. On paper, a much more weaker opponent, but nevertheless, one to not kind of like underestimate. And after that,
Yeah.
the final match against G2. Um, you although you guys had the chance to qualify for playoffs, you guys were able to do that, but still have more chances later on down the line. How do you look at the
Hmm.
challenge for the next two opponents in this schedule, and also like looking at how this will kind of affect the team's current level heading into playoffs?
Um, wait, what do you mean our current level?
More so,
Or
how,
the
how do you
other?
kind of more so how do you look at the upcoming schedule while also trying to um, measure where the team currently stands against the rest of the league
Hmm.
in the road to playoffs. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely a contender for Toronto. Honestly, we play some of the best Valorant some days, and obviously sometimes we have like off days, and we still can fall back on the fundamentals and make the games close. I would say we did play pretty well today. Today wasn't really an off day, but we're still definitely contenders. And I think with Furia next week, we're not taking them lightly. Obviously, they're still like a pretty strong team. They have a lot of good individual skilled players, so we're gonna come in with a good game plan, play together. And then for G2, obviously, we're looking at that rematch as well, and we're gonna try and close it out 4-1.
One more question that I want to ask before I wrap this one up, more so now, just focusing on like your individual play in this league. I mean, like I mentioned in the past conversation, you had to go through a pretty long journey to get to tier one. But I want to ask you about like where you kind of currently stand amidst the league's IGLs? Because like you're an IGL, so like how have you kind of looked at your individual IGL in compared to the rest that you've faced so far?
Um, like individual skill and individual play, I guess. I think I match pretty well, honestly. I mean, you look at a lot of these games, and the IGL is like -20, -30. You know, I think it is a pretty common thing that the IGL is at the bottom, and they're usually playing very selfless, and they're throwing the util, and they're going to be put in very bad situations. You know, and that's just how it is as an IGL and someone that's like putting the team first. So. I think individually, I'm still up there with everybody else. I'm not looking at this loss as like, oh, like my individual skill is at the very bottom. Though I still have a lot of confidence in myself.
You know, you brought up an interesting point that I want to ask you right here and now. Do you feel like the focus on like statistics kind of misconstrues the effectiveness of an IGL to like a given team?
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of people just base it off of kills and deaths, whether the IGL is good or not. Some IGLs will set themselves up and you know get more kills and get exits and do all that stuff for themselves, and they'll have better stats. So I think it's very misconstrued. I think the best IGLs are, you just got to look at it tactically. Are they setting their team up? Are they outplaying the other team macro? Just things like that, and basically good vibes for the team as well, the environment, and how well everybody plays in the environment, I guess.
Yeah, and at the very least, you've been able to do well in those kinds of departments for your particular role. So, Mitch, really do appreciate you giving me the insight and answering all my questions for this quick interview. Really do appreciate that as well. And of course, gotta give you the best of luck for the road ahead, man.
Yeah, thank you, Pedro. I appreciate it.